Hey guys, welcome to Physionic, where we learn the body from the macro to the micro. If that's something you think you'd be interested in, then consider subscribing. Today's topic comes from yet another subscriber. Attack 1086 wants to know: are there benefits to blood donation? There is a little bit of research on the topic, but I will say that I'm not convinced. So I would say that while it is true that blood donation does lead to, well, you're removing blood, so of course that's going to reduce your levels of hypertension. The actual studies that looked into this looked at repeated blood donation. So let's say 4 times giving blood, what happens to your blood pressure? And they saw a decrease in blood pressure. However, there are other studies that have pushed back against that and shown that actually, statistically speaking, it wasn't as dramatic as the original studies implied. So there's a bit of back and forth in terms of how to interpret those results. I will say that in terms of a physiological standpoint, if you do remove blood volume, so you're going to be removing red blood cells, you're going to be removing granulocytes or white blood cells, and of course you're going to be removing your plasma, which contains all the other stuff that would be in your blood, your nutrients and things of that nature. So is that going to reduce your blood pressure? There's no doubt. I mean, if you remove a pint of blood, you're removing, anywhere up to 10% of the blood that's going through your system. So of course that's going to reduce the amount of liquid that's putting shear force against your arteries and veins and things of that nature. So of course that's going to reduce blood pressure. But that said, your body's really quick at creating more red blood cells and creating more white blood cells, and really essentially increasing the volume again, because it has to. It's a critical function for you to maintain blood pressure. So when you have this sudden dip in blood pressure because of this loss of volume, it only takes a few hours or at most a few days for your body to recuperate and just put it right back to where it was. In terms of its impact on hypertension, I will say that it is unlikely to have a massive impact. There is, however, also another potential that I looked into looking at cancer. So I think more specifically they looked at reactive oxygen species production. So in our blood we have circulating iron, and usually that's attributed to your red blood cells. Your red blood cells have iron within them, which allows the actual binding of oxygen and the dissociation of oxygen and the transport of CO2 as well throughout your bloodstream. So having too much iron, however, can certainly be deleterious, because it can be a reactive oxygen species, meaning it can be a free radical pulling away electrons from other tissues and other molecules, creating a lot of damage. So in that situation, then the idea is that that could be a driver of cancer. And if you lower your iron levels, certainly you need some iron, as always, to move throughout your system. But if you have too much, then removing some of that ferritin, or the protein-associated iron, then that can lead to health benefits. But again, if you just continue your health habits and you go from there, most likely your body's just going to end up reintroducing that iron over time. In terms of the kinetics, how quickly that occurs, I don't know. But if it is just as quick as, for example, your blood plasma levels or your red blood cell count, well, then it's pretty much a moot point. It's not really going to matter all that much. So you can make an argument in that situation as well. But would I necessarily be convinced? If you continuously give blood donations for the rest of your life, maybe that has some minor impact in terms of a health benefit, but overall I think that it's probably going to be pretty negligible. Okay, so with that said, hopefully that answered your question. Hopefully it was informative to anybody that was curious about that, and Attack, hopefully I answered for you. And with that said, hopefully I have the pleasure of speaking with you guys in the next one. Have a good one, guys. Bye.